Lia Thomas is a national champion. To everyone's knowledge, the first transgender national champion in collegiate sports, winning the national title in swimming by nearly 2 seconds over the second-place finisher. Penn has a national champion in women's swimming, and it's Lia Thomas, who did not go to the post-meet press availability or anything of the like, and didn't receive much of an applause whenever winners were announced on the podium. Chad, I think it was Seth Davis who tweeted first over the weekend, and you saw this and responded and went into a back and forth with him over numbers, and the number one being very specific.
Yeah, and so the Lia Thomas story, you can read about it on Outkick. I don't know a lot of other media outlets that are covering the story as much as Outkick, but certainly read about it there. Hutton, you just illustrated what's going on with that story for those that are unaware. I'll start by saying I'm a big fan of Seth Davis and his college basketball work. I read him. I think he's very good on television. I think he's one of the few really good parts of that March Madness coverage, quite frankly, in studio. I think he's terrific, does his research, knows the teams, knows the players, knows the coaches. It's really good at that. I'm not as big of a fan of his social commentary on social media. I'm sure that he's not a big fan of mine either after this weekend and what I'm about to say. But I do respect his college basketball work, and I think that we can have a civil back and forth on issues like this. So Seth Davis retweeted a report from Jillian Brandstetter that says Utah's Republican governor — I don't want to make this about Republicans and Democrats because he's praising a Republican with his tweet — Utah's Republican Governor Spencer Cox, as he vetoes a ban on trans athletes passed by the state legislature, notes 75,000 high school athletes and only 4 are transgender in the state of Utah. Rarely has so much fear and anger been directed at so few. So Seth Davis retweets and says, 4! Exclamation point. And only one of those 4 is on a girls' team. Thank you, Governor Cox, for your empathy. The world needs more empathy. Now, what's important here is what is unsaid. Seth Davis says 4, and only one of those is on a girls' team. My question to Seth Davis and everyone else is very simple. The one that's on a girls' team, is that fair and just? A biological man competing against women, whether in high school, whether in NCAA swimming, like you see with Lia Thomas, is it fair and just? And I never get an answer. I will agree with Seth Davis on this. I think I could pick a lot of things that need legislation and talk outside of the one athlete in Utah where this is happening. I think the NCAA is out of their mind not to make a ruling on Lia Thomas and decide once and for all that this is wrong and it's not fair. I think the Utah state legislature could probably spend their time doing other things, but it does not hide or erase the issue that it is not fair nor just for that to happen. And this is a law about precedent. Again, I think they could spend their time on other things. It's just one now. It's not going to just be one if you allow it and you fight against it. This is an issue where we can all unite and come together. Your silence is deafening, Seth Davis, when you don't answer my question, or anyone else. Because the bottom line is, you know it's not right. You can't defend it. You can't defend the one. You can't defend Lia Thomas. You won't talk about it for a reason, because it's not in line with your talking points, and you know it's wrong, and you don't want to feed into that because others are talking more about it. Again, I raise my hand and agree with Seth Davis in one issue in our back and forth that they could be doing other things in the state legislature right now. Seth Davis says, I think, one suicide from a member of the trans community is one too many. I agree. No one wants suicide to happen. But where does it end? Because the defense of that is you need to give them inclusion and make sure they can compete, a biological man against a biological woman, so they don't feel like they want to commit suicide. Where does it stop? If I am depressed because I don't have the job that I want, do you owe me the job to make sure, in the interest of suicide prevention, that I get something that I didn't earn or I don't deserve, that's unfair or not just? This is a very slippery slope. And it's about precedent and doing what's right. And I'm sorry, but Lia Thomas Smoking the field of female swimmers at the NCAA meet is not fair or just.
Which included Olympians.
And we can all get together and agree on this. And again, it's an issue where silence on one side tells me everything I need to know about what they think. Seth Davis Hutton not responding to my question, which is very direct. Answer me on this. Is what's going on with Lia Thomas the right thing? When you can't answer that, or the other one I hear is, I just don't care. I just don't care. I care about all these issues. I care about vaccination. I care about all these other things. I just don't care about this. So I don't want to talk about it. Don't care. Everyone should care. If you are in sports, especially in competition, you should care about fairness within the rules and what is right in competition. This is not right.
Well, no one's asking.
And I am saying that with 100% certainty that my opinion is right, because it's not opinion. It's fact.
Yeah, and no one's asking the
fair.
competition, Chad, what their thoughts are on this.
It's ridiculous.
It's pretty clear. Everyone in attendance is, like you're saying, 98% against what they're seeing at this meet, at this race.
And I want to see those who have stood up for the rights of women athletes everywhere stand up against this. Let's unite and stand up against this. The Title IX warriors, everyone who has taken a stand on behalf of women athletes everywhere, take a stand on this also. Or at least just admit what everyone knows. It's not right. It's not fair.
Imagine if this were a different sport. Much more mainstream.
Well,
like college basketball player going to the WNBA or
Hutton,
something.
get ready, because the more silence out there and the lack of rulings by places like the NCAA, we're going to see more of this. This is not going to end.
And people will stand by, not us, people will stand by and just let it happen without saying anything. The silence is deafening. That's well said.